the end. So, hello, girl.
Hi, let me move back a bit so you can see me. Hello, energy.
Energy.
What's going on? Are you okay?
All good, all good. I hope I haven't got no spinach and callaloo, mama. I had a quick munch to eat before I jumped on the platform, you know what I mean?
You're all good, you're all good. Don't worry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How you been? How's your week been?
Week's been amazing, productive, busy, exciting. I was at the History Museum today. That was good. That was nice. That was
Which history museum did you go?
The British History Museum. I thought, let me get there before the whole world starts taking back what's rightfully theirs. Do you know what I mean? Let me go let me go check it out quickly, because I know there's a lot of that going on at the moment. So I went down to the History Museum.
I love that.
Yeah,
and as you know, Black History Month, and Black History Month is for everybody to learn. And yeah, you know, there's so many people now from different parts of the world that want to take back what was stolen from the British Empire. Rightfully so. You can't go to Africa and find museums of stuff from Belgium, Denmark, France, England.
Exactly.
You get me?
Exactly.
And I want to let people know that, you know what, truth is truth, regardless of where it comes from. Female, young, old, black, white. And that's what Black Car Speakers Lounge is all about. We're all about the truth. And I love, you know what? I want to let people know that I heard Miss Rose's videos. I saw her videos on her platform. I was like, wow. I said, wow, I've got to get this young lady on our platform, because what she was speaking about was about women and the rights of women. And in my personal opinion, humble opinion, where the direction that women should be going. And I loved what you had to say. Please tell the people a little bit about yourself and how you came to be.
So yeah, I mean, I think how we got connected was obviously, you know, for a very long time, I've had this big thing with social media, right? I think social media just in general is quite a toxic place. And, you know, for a while, it's been quite worrying. You know, for me, my background is I'm a trader, I'm an entrepreneur, I've run my own businesses, I've worked corporate jobs, corporate 9-to-5 jobs as well. So, you know, I've always been about the grind, right? And I feel like social media is always a great place for you to, you know, be able to work on your businesses and you know, really get yourself out there. However, what I started to notice a lot more of it on social media is, you know, there's this really toxic version of reality, especially when it comes to success, when it comes to values, when it comes to women. And you know what, we could go through 8 different doors with this conversation, but bring it back to sort of how you come across me, and, you know, what we started to talk about was toxic femininity, okay? Toxic femininity, and, you know, I think the video you saw was a video I said, you know, I think this whole sugar daddy thing is glamorized prostitution, right? Now, a lot of people be like, you know, don't be judgy, let people live their lives. And what you need to understand, it's not about that, okay? No one's here to judge you. If you're happy to have a sugar daddy, have one, okay? If you're happy to live your life in a certain way, do it, okay? But here's my thing. Technology is growing at an exponential rate. And we have children young as 3, 4, 5 on social media these days, okay? And they're you know, they're on YouTube, they're on Instagram, okay? So we have a responsibility to be able to show them different narratives to what they're, you know, currently experiencing. Because even if we look at just success, right? Everyone looks so much more successful off of Instagram, but they don't see all the hard work that goes in behind that. Drawing it back around to obviously what I'm talking about in regards to toxic femininity, you know, if we even take it back as far as the 90s, where we had that Julia Roberts film, what was it? Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman, okay? You got to understand that seeds are planted very, very, you know, subtly, okay? So we as a society, you know, we decide what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. We've also got to be conscious of the things that are being planted into our minds along the way, without sounding like too much of a tin hat foil wearer, guys, okay? So we had Pretty Woman, we had Secret Diaries of a Cool Girl in 2007, which was Billie Piper, which really glamorized, you know, a cool girl, a prostitute, and, you know, it sort of made it seem like, you know, okay, this is not too much of a bad profession, you know, she still has fun, she still has these really exciting relationships. But the reality is obviously what that didn't highlight is all the dangerous scenarios that could get into. It didn't highlight, you know, the real relationship issues that could then cause someone, okay? And then 2012, what did we get? Sex, Lies, and Rinsing Guys, okay?
Okay.
That's the catalyst.
In the 90s, Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Yeah, sex, lies, and rinsing guys. And what this promoted was lifestyles of these certain individuals, these certain women, glamorous, beautiful lifestyles. And all they would do is just simply have a few sort of relationships with men here and there. They didn't have to do anything. They would send them money, and they would have these, like, you know, really, really great lifestyles. So again, we've got this desensitization. And even if you take it and you look at it, the wording of it, sugar baby versus sugar daddy. Okay, why have we got a grown-ass father figure having a sexual financial relationship with a baby? Okay, it's not sugar girl, it's not sugar wife, it's not sugar woman, it's sugar daddy versus sugar baby. So you've got to understand that this older man, you know, and these younger women, let's get these younger women with these older men, let's make it seem glamorous. And let's make it look like liberation. But the reality is if you're going to choose this as your career path, and again, if you're a woman, if you want to do that, go ahead, right? It's completely down to you. You're not any less of a woman for choosing how you make your money, okay? And that's what I wanted to make very, very clear. I don't believe you're less of a woman. I don't think anyone has the authority to be able to judge you. There's circumstances. Things aren't black and white, okay? You could be needing to feed your kids, okay? That's why you're prostituting. Okay, and there's women in life that really don't have that to do, right? But what the problem is online we're glamorizing it. You don't have to be in a bad situation to go out and be a sugar daddy or do OnlyFans or, you know, sell your femininity in that regard, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's the whole sort of glamorization and making our young people believe that, okay, you know, it's okay for you to have a man that's triple or double your age, and for you not to actually sit down and work on skills that are going to really progress you as an individual and a person and give you a sense of purpose in life.
Right.
And allow, so go ahead. I'm going off on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you for what you're saying. For example, okay, let's bring everything up to the time and today. For example, Lizzo, the singer Lizzo, who I think is very talented. I think Lizzo is, let me tell you something. I think Lizzo's very, very talented.
Really talented.
No cap. There's this thing about Lizzo in terms of body shaming, her coming out, twerking, doing her thing. And I want, and if there's any other females that want to come up on this, please do. Because I'm a man and I'm going to speak from a male perspective. And I'd like for women to come forward. We had the thing with Sarah Everard, excuse me for the mispronunciation, what happened with her and her being killed by the police. Women being attacked, women not feeling so safe, women crying out for protection. Now, this is my thing. Women are crying out for protection, but then you've got another audience of women who are saying women can do it all by themselves. From the 90s, you have TLC, love TLC. You had Destiny's Child, love Destiny's Child. Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, my favorite, Kelly Rowland. Boy, she's sweet. Independent women, independent ladies, do for yourself, spend for yourself. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with having independence, but have independence and have a moral compass about it. Because at the end of the day, the idea of independent is you're independent, right? You're not relying on any other singular person, whether that be a man or another single person, to be able to get what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with having independence and, you know, making your own money. But the point is like, when you're doing it, that's going to be a detriment to your soul and a detriment to yourself and a detriment to your future relationships and stuff like that, then I think that's when it becomes a problem. There's nothing wrong with independence, but I think what we also need to recognize as women, we do, you know, as feminine energy, we do need masculine energy. And it's great to do things by yourself. And of course, you should build that foundation of independency. But then, you know, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be codependent on anyone. We came into this world alone, you will die alone. This is something you need to understand, right? You don't want to build a codependency, but you want to build up a strong enough foundation in order when you do meet your partner, you just add to each other. And then if you was to, you know, God forbid, separate, you would still be that whole person. And we focus too much on, you know, and again, we can go way too far down that independent route because, you know, at the same time, it's always good to be independent. But what's the greatest, you know, what's the greatest energy on this earth? It's love, right? It's companionship. It's being able to share a soul connection, share a soul tie, and be able to have,
I want to talk about that.
You, masculine and feminine energy. Now, listen, you can, you know, you don't have to follow the fairy tale, you know, fall in love with Prince Charming and you don't have to do that. And I feel that that's what feminists are saying too. You do have other options, okay? But let's not disregard the fact that, you know, whether it's a male and female energy or whatever, you know, or whatever, however you choose, you know, whoever you find, right? Whoever you find attractive, it's that companionship, okay, as well, that we have to take into consideration.
So in terms of, you said something about soul tie. Now, I watched the video on you where you spoke about soul ties. I'm very big on soul ties. I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial. Women, there's a thing right now in the social media community where men are debating with women. There seems to be a large gap taking place between male versus female in terms of relationship, in terms of who has value, higher value, lower value. You got a lot of people listening to the likes of Kevin Samuels, who I like, by the way. He says a lot of good points. And stuff that really should have heard a long time ago. Questions that male and female should have been asked a long time ago. I feel things like courtship, which means you court before you actually get married. Courtship, you ask questions. You take that male or the male takes the female to court. Not literal court, but court in terms of questioning. How many people have you slept with? Now, you spoke about body count and a woman's soul ties. What is it about? What is soul ties, and why does it affect women more than men? Okay. Sexual relationships.
I mean, you know what is it? Okay, so first of all, what we've got to understand about women is we're generally a lot more in touch emotionally than men are. Okay, that's not to say that men aren't in touch emotionally, but women, you know, we're stronger emotionally. I believe we're stronger emotionally. We're stronger spiritually. We're able to take a lot more pain. We're able to, you know, deal with heartbreak. I mean, I think you can tell the difference between a heartbroken man and a heartbroken female. I feel like I can see you disagree, but I feel like
no, don't disagree.
Females are stronger in that respect, right? So maybe they might be a bit more conscious to it, is what I'm trying to say, right? Because obviously, in my experience, and I can't speak for every single woman, right? But what I can say is, in my experience, for me to sleep with a man, I would have to have a type of emotion towards them. I would have to have, you know, even if I wasn't even I wasn't fully in love with them, I would need to have, you know, certain levels of emotion where I believe, you know, this is someone who I would, you know, want to lay down with, okay? And I feel like a lot of women, before they sleep with someone, they do feel very similar, okay? So, you know, and it's very rare that you get women to, you know, sleep around for the sort of sexual pleasure of it. Some do, and that's their thing, right? That's their thing. But yeah, that's what it. So when it comes to soul ties and stuff like that, right?
What is a soul tie?
Yeah, when it comes to soul ties, I mean, you can take this so many different ways, but there's certain people who we meet in life that we're connected to, that, you know, that no matter what we do or where we go or who we're with, we'll always remember that person, right?
You feel that women are more, they're more on that level where they tie with their ex. I feel, please ladies, tell me if I'm wrong. I feel men, we are more able to sleep around, and I'm not condoning it. We are more able to be more polygamous than women.
Actually, yeah, I think polygamy with men as well. It's men are way more polygamous than women, just in general. Okay, and here's the reason: with women, again, we associate sex with emotion. Men, not so much. Men can have sex with a woman and not have any emotions. That's why a lot of men can, you know, love their wife and still, and again, people would argue with me about this. They would be like, that if a man loves a woman, he's not going to cheat on her. Reality is, yes, a man can still love a woman and then have a sexual desire and then, you know, go and cheat and still love his wife, but, you know, maybe not in the way that she needs to be loved, but he can still feel that love emotion and still do what he's doing, and that's sort of like a hard reality. Women, we connect more. Again, and here's the thing, like I said this as well, when we sleep with someone, we release oxytocin. Oxytocin, you know, we can get oxytocin from, there's different types of activities that produce oxytocin in our brain, right?
Come
Oxytocin
on.
is also produced when we're breastfeeding, and it's basically, it's known as the love hormone, the cuddle hormone, okay? And what it
Right.
does is it lowers your guard, you know, it makes you trust more, and you know, and it's an actual chemical reaction in our brain as well, and that's what a lot of women don't understand. And that's why I said in the video, you know, if you continue to sleep with someone who's treated you like shit, then you're wondering why you can't get over them. It's because you're continuing to sleep with them. You keep setting off the oxytocin. It keeps happening, and you keep tying yourself. Now let's look at sex, right? Let's just look at sex in general, right? So sex.
Come on, people. We're talking about sex,
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
Black Car Speakers Lounge.
This
Get
is when
in.
it comes to sex, sacred energy exchange. Okay, sacred energy. Now the highest sexual energy can the highest manifestation is human life. Okay, that is the highest manifestation that we can create with sexual energy. Now we can also use our sexual energy and we can put it towards our goals. We can put it towards other areas of our life. There's plenty of books on transmutation, through meditation, and loads of different ways. It's a very, very powerful and very powerful energy. You'll notice that a lot of athletes before big games, they don't have sex, they abstain from sex. I won't get into all the sort of different practices of it, but there's a reason, because it's an extremely powerful energy, and its highest manifestation is human life. Okay. So, and look, if the greatest miracle known to man is the birth of a child, then what does that make us as individuals? Okay, so we are literally, and that whole act, and what does that make the act? Okay, the act of sex is the creation of life, and then as women, you know, when I say as well, you know, protect your most valuable asset, what I'm talking about is your womb. It has the power to navigate an unborn soul from a completely different realm into this realm and give it life, the greatest miracle known to man. And this is what we've been saying for hundreds and thousands of years. We question life, we wake up, life after death, life this, life that. So this is, you know, this is a sacred ceremony that should happen between two people. So then when you're doing it with and not with love and care and for the intention of creation, then you've got to expect that, you know, when you sleep with someone, you merge your DNA, okay? And this is what I said about sexually transmitted trauma and depression. There's been people that have been sleeping with people, you start to feel depressed, or you start to pick up on certain things, or couples, when they're together a long time, they start to, you know, simulate each other's behaviors, okay? It's because there's an exchange of DNA and exchange of energy, and that's what happens when we have sex with people. Women, the reason we take it more thing is because we're the portal for the creation. And a lot of people sleep on this so much. They really, really don't understand that, you know, we desensitize sex so much. And that's why we sell it, this sugar daddy thing, and, you know, all of this type of stuff, we desensitize it, but it is the most sacred energy on earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And so a soul tie, and this is what I really want to get to, and I'm going to say this unapologetically. I feel that women today, especially with the advent of social media, because dating for men, it was a total different animal back in 2012, 2005, and the 2000s. It was so simpler. Men would approach a woman would, you know, and then, you know, the rest would follow. Today, dating, social media,
Crazy.
It's a different madness right now. And it's like, it's anti-social media, because social media is an oxymoron. You're not really socializing. There's media, but you're not really socializing.
Yes, fake connections.
You know, and as we approach into winter time, which is called cuffing season, where people are suffering from seasonal affective disorder, sad disease, I find a lot of women are like, okay, hot girl summer is over now. We're getting into, they call it not autumn, they call it thottum season.
Bottom, wow.
Because now leaves are starting to cool down, and women more than men want to get coupled in. They naturally, in their nature, want to feel protected by a man, especially where now the days are shortened and the nights are longer. Nothing wrong with that. So women have to be very careful, because when summer comes around next year, 2022, breakups happen, cheating happens, all that stuff, because there's no need for that man.
You just said then, right? You know what you said about cuffing season, and then we got summer coming in, and then there's breakups. the relationships that do that, they're not fulfilling relationships. And this is what I mean. There's no stability there as well. And like even this cuffing season, feeling lonely for the winter, even that's the wrong reason to get into a relationship, because as you said, summer's coming, people are breaking up. And I think too often these days we keep using, you know, we keep bouncing from person to person.
I want to deal with that. I want to talk about that because I think personally it's an issue. A lot of women have been made masculine. I'm going to say it straight. A lot of women are like men now, where they jump from one man to the next, as women would, excuse me, as a man would jump from one woman to the next. Women are now, due to feminism, toxic feminism, by the way, they're jumping from one man to the next. They call it the cock carousel. They're jumping from one to the next.
Yeah.
And I find, this is honestly, from what I'm 45 years of age. I've seen some life, not all of life. I've seen some life. I've learned from my elders, And the more women get with different partners, is the more they find it very difficult to settle down. I'm going to say that one more time. The more women get sexually involved with different partners, one man after the other, is the more difficult it is for that woman to settle down in a stable relationship. Please tell me about that. Why are women now, in my view, are out there with different men, and the body count situation is up to the individual? We're talking about nature. The body count situation, a lot of women have, hey, I'm not judging no one. There's a high body count thing now, right now. With women. Men, we want to see you as sacred. We don't want to see women as, oh, you got a high body count. We want to see women as, she's got a low body count, she's loyal, she's for me. But a lot of women now have been, young girls.
Just on that.
Go ahead, darling.
And I think this is where the whole inequality comes in. That is what women want. That is what men want from women. But that's not what men represent within themselves, because they're not naturally polygamous. So it is a sort of like catch-22. It's just sort of like, yeah, I agree with you. But men at the same time do need to come in and have some accountability as well, because your energy is just as sacred, King. Do you know what I mean? Like, and this is what a lot of men don't understand, because not only do women take it in, when men are fucking different women, it doesn't affect you much as us. But the thing is I mean, hey, and to answer your question, why is it more difficult? I mean, again, I can't speak. I don't date. I don't date a lot of guys. I know that sounds really thing, but I don't, right? I don't, right? But again, like that doesn't make me.
Nobody's judging you over here. Go ahead.
No, it doesn't make me any better. I'm just saying, but like, so I can't speak for, but like, obviously, dating part of getting to know people, right? You can get to know people in it. Like, this is what I mean. You can get to know different partners, but when people are going when people maybe have multiple partners, the only thing I can think of is, you know, there'd be this comparing to this one or that one, because here's the thing, to find someone who has everything that you want is very difficult. A woman might date about 5 different guys, right? And then she might say, okay, each
when
one of
you
them.
say date, are you sorry there, love. When you say date, are you saying actually be intimate with, or just
maybe date? Like, say for example,
okay,
a woman might date 5 different guys, and maybe out of those 5 different, she might have dated one for a couple of months, got intimate with another one, then did those dates. Do you know what I mean? It just depends.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is, obviously it might be that, you know, like it might be that there's all of these different attributes that we want, like within one person, and sometimes what we need to understand is we're not going to find everything in that one person, so we might be going from different person to person trying to find that one, and that might be why it might be harder. But again, because I don't, you know, have that experience, I wouldn't be able to say for sure. That would just be my opinion on it.
Facts, yeah, absolutely facts. And you know what? I just feel the culture right now is promoting women just to be more promiscuous.
Yeah.
I feel that the culture right now is promoting women to just undervalue themselves. I feel that the culture right now, women are
as well, when it's not. Yeah, they
exactly. They try to strip off, to go before the world, to show bum, to show breasts. You know, I don't know why I pointed to there when I said bum. But anyway, so people, it's like, and I'm not blaming women. I'm not blaming women. But when I say the culture, I'm talking about media is promoting women to just strip it all off. Toxic feminism is saying strip it all off and you'll be all right with a man. And I'm telling you, ladies, listen to me as a man, coming from the horse's mouth, so to speak. We don't rate no woman that we get it easily from. I'm going to say it again. We don't rate no woman that we get it easily from. Like the crown jewels, that's valuable. When we see the crown jewels, we want to see it encased. We like it, but we can't touch it. And the fact that we can't touch it makes it more valuable. The fact that we can't reach it makes it more valuable. The fact that we can't just mess around with it makes it more valuable. So if women would, and I think I'd like to hear from you, what is the cause of why women just give it away so easily? And now it's social media porn. I call it electronic prostitution on Instagram. Because I wouldn't want no woman, putting herself out there on social media for the whole world to see. I don't want that. I wouldn't want my woman, single wife at the moment, I wouldn't want no woman, my woman, putting it out, my daughter, putting it out there for the whole world to see. So what is it about? Is it self-esteem? How do we lift up the self-esteem of women? How do women esteem themselves?
Well, firstly, what we've got to understand is like I said earlier, as a society, we deem what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And what's happened in the past sort of 10 to 15 years is we have, again, popularized this version of feminism where it says, be promiscuous, act how you want to act, bear all, and that's what's sexy, that's what's attractive. So that's why it's really difficult, because that's the popular narrative right now. Okay, looking sexy, you know, showing all, bearing more. Well, here's the thing: Instagram as well, you know, and you know the likes. There's a psychology behind it, and this is why social media is set up the way that it is, right? So it's a need for validation in a world where we have this unrealistic standard of beauty that's been set up, right? Where no one can really keep up to it, but it's our society that is pushing forward this narrative, right? So it's hard to say to women, okay, don't act like this and have more self-esteem, when we're in a society that promotes the opposite, which is why we need more women to come on and give a different perspective and a different viewpoint about what's important. Because it's easy for us to sit here and be like, oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. It's easy for us to say that, but what we're battling against is a much bigger monster, which is social media, which is, you know, much higher, you know, top of the pyramid narratives being dropped down to us. Those little seeds, like I said, back from the 90s, Hollywood, they're always coming in, glamorizing this type of stuff. So for us to be able to, you know, tell young women, you know, have, you know, more value and more esteem, we need to show them what value and esteem actually is, as opposed to just, you know, throwing them out to the wolves. And that's what it is, I feel like.
I agree, 100%. I agree. You know, with all of the stuff that's, I mean, I'm only using certain celebrities as an example because I'm going to use Lizzo as an example. She was out there, she's twerking, she's promoting body confidence with her being a plus size woman. And then you have a lot of people saying, no, it's promoting obesity, it's promoting an unhealthy lifestyle. But for me, the problem is not the fact that she's plus size. My problem, the issue I would say is that she's been used by the machine to strip off before the whole world, as if that's what all women are worth. Yeah. And I think men and women are both victims of that lust that has been fed constantly in our minds.
Yeah. Sex excites people. You know what? I read a really interesting book called Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel, and it was a relationship book, and it talked about, you know, basically, you know, how within couples where the intimacy lacks and stuff like that. Really interesting book, right? But what she sort of said is whenever she goes anywhere, whether she's doing a TEDx talk, whether she's going anywhere, people are so interested in sex, okay? It just sells, and it's the excitement of it, it's the tabooness of it, and that's what a lot of people, and that's why I mean, even like, look at Nigella Lawson, for example, right? Nigella Lawson is famous for what? Being sex. There's nothing wrong with being sexy, all right? There's nothing wrong with...
Absolutely,
yeah.
Come on.
There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of sex appeal about you and stuff like that, but where do we draw the line? Where does it get too much? Like Nigella Lawson, for example, she'd make those cheeky little innuendos and she was baking her cakes. And you know what I mean? That's a different type of sexy.
Yeah.
But then we've
Yeah.
got, like, you know, 18-year-old girls literally just in underwear on Instagram and their whole body out. And look, if they want to do that and be proud of their body, for years and centuries we've appreciated the human body. Even when I was in the museum today, there's sculptures of naked people like everywhere, and it's appreciated but in a very classy way. But the issue is,
it's different.
very lusty, it's very desire, it's very overly sexualized, it's very sordid in a way, and it's not taking the beauty and the femininity and the divinity of who we are, but it's more sort of masking it with this sort of sordid, low vibrational, very, very root chakra, animalistic type of vibes. And how are we supposed to then, again, raise higher and, you know, put forth things that we should be seen as more valuable? How are we supposed to change that vibration when sex is such a big...
I really believe women are the ones to change that. I believe no nation can rise no higher than their women. I believe to educate a woman, Malcolm X said, to educate a woman is to educate a whole nation. Yeah? To educate a woman is to educate a whole nation. To educate a man is to educate an individual. And I don't feel, and I posted up a video of a man who was in Los Angeles who took a video of a Meek Mill's bus with all of these women.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. With all these women who are naked. It's like, what the F is this? What the F is this? Is this how you want to look, black women? And like, I was like, I feel him, because we're in a world where everyone's afraid to call it out. Everyone's afraid to be counseled.
Yeah.
Everyone's afraid to lose friends. Everyone's afraid to speak the truth. And it takes a man like a Dave Chappelle to speak his truth about his friends who are of the LGBTQ community, but yet he can still be critical of what he thinks is wrong within that community without fear of being counseled.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And here's my thing with it as well, right? And even look at the little Nas X thing, right? You see, everyone wants to live there. No, yeah, but here's my thing with that, right? Because I've got a lot of different friends, right, of a lot of different orientations, right? And it's my thing. Even with the little Nas X thing, I feel what it is doing is, even the video where he's twerking on a devil, over sexualizing, like, and really sort of soft porn in the video, right? And then he's associating that to the LGBT community. Look, like, Elton John did it classy. Like, do you know what I mean? You can be classy and you can be gay, but here's the problem, right? He's associating the LGBT community with something demonic, something over-sexualized. And what we're trying to do is, in this current state, is we're trying to sort of bring more acceptance, right? But how are you supposed to bring more acceptance and more education when you're basically throwing fuel on the fire and doing things that are going to really trigger a lot of different people? Because there could be people that could be okay with gay people, right? But they could be against, you know, sort of demon worship and stuff. And, you know, even that type of thing. And again, who's the controller of it? The media, the top of
That's the point. That's the point of the machine.
You know, like, and it's the same with their toxic femininity. It's the same with their dropping sort of gems into the virus.
Sorry, one second. Why talk about black women and a black woman isn't here to address the topic? Come on in the room then. Come on in the room, please. I see you're a black woman. Jump on in the room. Yeah, look, we're talking about women's issues, and I've invited everyone from the top. Rewind the video. Jump in the room. We're talking about women in general. We're talking about community in general. Jump in the room. I've invited everyone to jump in. If you've got a point of view, jump in. Don't hide behind your comments. Jump in the cyberspace, yeah? Don't be talking and typing it. Jump in. Come on. We don't bite unless you talk nonsense. Everybody's invited onto this platform. Yeah. Jump in. Please jump in the room. I want to give a space for women to speak about women's issues, yeah? I don't give a... Look, obviously, I'm a black man, and I care first and foremost for my black women, unapologetically, but I care for the well-being of women. And this woman here, who's my guest is speaking out. She's actually spitting out a lot of knowledge that a lot of young girls need to hear. A lot of young women need to hear this. A lot of young women need to hear this. I don't folly with that. I don't play with that. I don't F around with that. So please, if you have something to say, come in the room and stop typing. Because I'm old school. I don't do this. This social media thing is new to me. I'm old school. If I got something to say, I say it in their beak, right in their face. I don't type it. Please jump in respectfully. Please share your views. Come in the room. Be you black, be you white. Jump in the room. I need you. Don't type that. Jump in the room. Send a request and I'll invite you in. Please, sister, do that. And I say that with love. Carry on.
Oh, so where was we? where was we?
Sorry. We were talking about Lil Nas X and that community.
Okay, cool. So my whole point is again, look, divide and conquer, right? And even with the whole Lil Nas X thing, you know, a lot you could argue, oh, you know what, he's just, you know, promoting awareness and people shouldn't be so triggered, but the reality is they are, right? And because it's the over-sexualization, it's the over-demonization, it's the desensitization of, you know, this really lustful culture, okay? And again, this is something that's very low vibrational. If anything, we shouldn't be coming from lust, okay? We should be coming from love. We should be coming from acceptance. We should be coming from understanding. And, you know, there's so many different issues where we've been divided, right? And again, divide and conquer. LGBT pro versus people who aren't on it. Then we've got, you know, males against females. Then we've got Brexit, Remain. Then we've got, you know, there's you know, mask wearers, non-mask wearers, pro-vaccine, against vaccine. Okay, there's so much.
No,
but there is, and what we've got to understand is how much of this is what we want to do as a society, and how much of this is being trickled down from the top to divide us as a nation. And this is what we need to understand. So when I'm talking about toxic femininity, and you know, I did the other video, and I said to young women, you know, I don't advise fucking a man on the first date. It's not because for you to not look easy. It's not because of that. It's because how do you know this person? How has that person allowed just energy and access to you as a woman? That is your most valuable asset. And they shouldn't be able to just come into your temple and, you know, and then do, you know, and, you know, have this exchange, sacred energy exchange for you that you're actually meant to be popping out babies with, really, like, you know what I mean? Just for no reason. And again, it's just desensitized. It's like, go fuck who you want, go do what you want. Don't have any, you know, thought or accountability of how this might affect you psychologically, how this might affect you spiritually, you know, how all this energy is, you know, going on. And, you know, even based off of that, you know, this, say for example, you know, you might have a sugar daddy, for example, right? And, you know, you might do that for 10 years. What happens when you fall in love with someone? What happens when you want to change your career and stuff like that? But again, it all comes from the top. It comes from the top. There's so much divide and conquers.
That's right. I agree thoroughly. And I unapologetically always speak for black people, on the behalf of black people, being a black man. And after that, I speak for the rest of humanity, because I'm a man whereby if I don't start from me, I'm not going to know anyone else. So that's why this platform, most of the time, it's always people that look like me. But I'm always like, I bring people on the platform who speak sense, period. That's what I'm about. I don't usually swear on this platform, but I don't give a doo-doo, yeah? But you're absolutely right in terms of divide and rule. And, you know, many of us have people who are gay or lesbian in our family, and we may not agree with their lifestyle and their life choice. But at the same time, we've got to find a common denominator. And I definitely don't agree with what the artists are doing, promoting any form of pornography to our young people, especially. And I feel as parents, we need to be more responsible. And I've said it before. Malcolm X said, to teach a man is to teach an individual. To teach a woman is to teach a nation. Now, to teach a nation means out of the parents, the women. For me, I go more harder on the women to be uplifted, because what you teach is going to go to the children before what the man teaches. What the woman teaches will go to the children. The fact that she's turning on a certain program on the television or what she's cooking, that's the woman. The woman holds the mantle, the power in terms of raising the children. So I'm so hard in a respectful, loving way to the women, because the women are women. I'm going to say this controversially: women don't need the equal rights. You don't need it. You're the one that controls the CEOs that are coming. The CEOs come through you. the people that run the Fortune 500s and the cryptocurrency, which I'm going to talk a little bit about,
women
come
birth the
from
greatest
you.
men in the world, and that's what I think. That's what you were saying. Women will birth the greatest men in the world, and that's how
Right.
powerful we are. Okay.
So if we want to see a change, it's going to come through women. If we want to see the cure for AIDS, the cure for cancer, and we've got a friend of ours called Denton coming on who overcame and survived prostate cancer. If we want to see the cure for cancer, that cure for the disease is going to come through the woman, the womb of a woman. But if the woman does not value her womb, man, her womb, this womb and that womb, this womb and that womb, then everything else that will come forth from her will be corrupt. The womb of the woman has to be made sacred. Every woman is sacred, and I'm not being a simp when I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Every woman is sacred, but she has to see that for herself.
Yeah.
A woman has to see that for herself. She has to see that, and that's why I love what you're saying and what you're doing, because though there's people who the naysayers may be out there, I see the comments against you.
Let's
I
scare
love the
them.
fact.
I come for them back. Like, do you know what I mean? I like to debate them sometimes as well, right? You are going to get naysayers. But here's the reality of the situation. If everyone agrees with you and everyone likes you, then you're either wearing a really good mask or you're just not being your authentic self, because people who move mountains piss people off. And that's the reality of it, right? And you're right. We do need to be able to come forward now. There needs to be more of us to sort of combat and fight against this lifestyle. But here's the number one thing I always get in the comments, right? Especially when I do a video, right? It's, people should be able to do what they want and live how they want to live.
Yes, I saw that one.
Yeah. So how dare you? How about we stop coming online and telling people how to live their lives? Look, that's not what we're trying to do here, okay? Cigarette companies put on their cigarette packets that if you smoke their product, you could possibly die. If you smoke their product, you could possibly get lung cancer, okay? Pharmaceutical companies put on their drugs the possible side effects, okay? What we don't educate people enough on is the side effects of being promiscuous and sharing your energy and letting people into your aura, into your temple, and not, you know, building and cultivating loving, healthy relationships around you, how damaging that can be if you don't do it. So if you want to go ahead and you want to live this I don't give a fuck lifestyle, then please feel free to do it. But understand that what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to educate people on is if you do that, then the possibility is that, you know, there's going to be trauma that you're going to have to work through. There's going to, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to, like, say, for example, sugar daddy thing. There's going to come a time where you're too old to be a sugar baby. How are you making money then? Like, there's going to be a time when you fall in love, right? But you're unable to give that other person the best of you because you haven't spent your years learning how to cultivate healthy relationships with people. So then when you go into a new relationship with someone who's truly for you, you don't know how to have that relationship properly. And then you're not able to give them what you're supposed to give them because you haven't healed, or you've got trauma, or you're used to a completely different dynamic. Because there's a loving, healthy relationship with two people who have respect for each other and build each other and grow each other is going to be very different from a completely sex-based relationship, sugar daddy relationship, even friend-based relationship. So we need to, practice makes perfect as well. And this is why you tend to have a lot of women, childhood trauma. That's why it can affect our relationships these days, even going back to that. So we are very sensitive beings in a world that tells us not to examine ourselves and not to fix ourselves and heal ourselves. Do you get what I'm saying? In the reality, this is really detrimental to us, and then we're just shooting ourselves in the foot, because when is the last time you sat down and really, worked through what your trauma is, really looked at yourself and said, you're failing here, you're failing here, you're failing here. How can you make yourself better? Took accountability for your actions. And here's another thing as well. This society does teach women to not take a lot of accountability as well. And that's not take a lot of accountability. And again, I did a similar video the other day. Like, when we get rejected by men as women, we take this so personally, right? As a woman, if we get rejected by a man, we take it so personally. We'll say he's being disingenuous. He's being an F-boy. But as women, we're the biggest rejectors. We reject men all day long, okay? And
Right.
we will.
That's true. Come on, brother. Can I get a witness?
You don't speak English, right? And this is what I think. So if we can reject people so freely, then why when men reject us do we take it so personally? And get into our feelings and stuff like that. It's but then again, but then we're hypocritical when we do that, because you know what I mean, everyone, like, if you think about it this way as well, it's like, you know, all of the times as a woman, when you've met a guy, he could be a great guy, like he could be an awesome guy, right? Again, he could be a nice guy, apparently, that everyone wants to throw away. Great guy, great job, great morals, but you might just not be feeling him. Like, do you know what I mean? You might be like, oh, to the girls, oh, you know, I'm just not feeling him. I just want something a bit different. And then you go for the guy that excites you but doesn't treat you well.
Why do women go for bad boys then? I mean, this is something. Any questions from anyone, put them forward, because we're bringing in our other guests as well as we have the lovely guest, Miss Rose. Why? I know the answer.
Yeah.
But just for myself, why do women tend to go for bad boys?
I think there's two answers to that. I feel like number one is excitement. Some women might want, like, you know, a bit of extra excitement. But another part of it is, again, where we've had such unhealthy relationships over the years, a lot of it is trauma, because a loving, compassionate relationship is not going to have, you know, sometimes what happens is we go through people, right, and we go through lives and we get to know these people, and it might be toxic, right, and we live in such a toxic relationship dating scene days, right? So and what we confuse toxicity with is passion. So when we've got someone who's arguing, we're confusing toxicity with passion, right? So when we're with someone and we think they're fighting because he loves us, but then when we go into a nice, healthy relationship where it's quite settled and stuff, we don't feel like they're fighting hard enough for us, or you know, there's that element of it, and I think that's what happens. I mean, me personally, give me a good guy all day long. Like, I'll be real with you. Give me a good, but then. The catch-22 is you've got good guys, they get with girls, they don't rate the good guys, so then he starts to be an arsehole to the next woman, and then we're losing the good guys, and then there might be a good girl who falls in love with a bad guy, and then it's, again, you know, you're not a savage, you're just scared to be seen. You're not a bad man, you're just scared for a woman to really see you who you truly are, and you're scared to be called a simp. Do you know what I mean? As a woman, you're scared to be able to admit your emotions and stuff like that, because you don't want to be seen as clingy. We just have a very unhealthy approach to relationships these days, which is why I think women tend to want to go for that bad man who's going to mistreat her because she feels like it's more dramatic, and this is a movie. It's not a movie, ladies, okay? It's not a movie.
One of our lovely sisters, she said she can't answer that question because she's not attracted to bad guys. But I think women just like a man that's on a mission, and the bad boy, so-called bad boy, he's on a mission. He's out there. He's doing what he's doing. He's on a mission. And I'm gonna say this to the man then. Look, don't. I'm gonna say it straight, man. I don't know how to put it any other way, man. Let me just put it straight with no chaser. Don't be around your woman's foot all the time, man. Get out there, be in the gym. Go out with your mate. Don't be around your woman's foot, man. Get out there. Be on a mission. Yeah. Be on mission, my friend. Don't be around your woman's toes, your woman's foot. Be out there. Because women admire men they can look up to.
Yeah, and also just going back to, you know, that book I was talking about earlier, Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel, comfortability eradicates eroticism as well.
Say that again.
So yeah, comfortability eradicates eroticism. Okay. So when we get into relationships, when it's new and exciting, we're like, oh, and there's all that drive. But that's why you tend to find when people get into more long-term relationships, the libido goes down, they become less attracted to their partner. It's because the comfortability eradicates that eroticism. So even if you are, like, do you know what I mean? I'm a big believer in, you know, if you are in a relationship with someone, you know, make sure you have that space. Even me, I said to my girls not too long ago, even one of my boys, I said, you know, when I do end up getting married, I don't want to live with my partner. I want us to have a house each, right? You have the and I have the
okay.
We spend but when we need time apart to be the individual souls that we are, right? Let's spend some time apart. But it's this, like, clinging to the other person, this codependency, and it ruins our relationships because you forget who you really are. When you're with someone, you have so much of that person, that you, right? But then,
do you believe in a man taking the lead? Do you believe in a man taking the lead?
Pardon?
Sorry to cut you. Do you believe in a man taking the lead?
See, here's the thing. I'm an alpha female, right? So I want an alpha man to be able to earn his own money, not to financially support me, but just to know that you've got that there. And I will be led, but not by the blind, basically, okay? So I'll be led by a man, and I want him to take the lead, yeah, of course, but lead me in the right direction and way, and allow me to have confidence to be led by you, okay? It's not that we don't want to submit and be led. Of course we want to submit. I'm not going to let a blind man lead me. Does that make sense? And I think, you know, because if you look, it would be silly of you to just blindly be led by any person in life, okay? But the idea is, especially with a man, is to trust a man enough to you not to, and again, a healthy relationship will have that man in the mindset of he wants to always do right by you and do the best by you, so you can feel safe to be led by him, okay? But if you're not in a relationship or a healthy relationship where that person doesn't want the best for you, then, you know, they're just going to do what they want to do, and they're not going to be thinking about that. So
I don't mean to go Kevin Samuels on you right now, but how you don't have to give the actual age. How young are you?
I'm 30. I'm 32 next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm 32 next week.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you dress size and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
I'm not going to do that. That would be for another show, maybe. I don't know. But yeah. So, in terms of, would you say you're religious?
No, I wouldn't say I'm overly religious. I'd say I studied religion for a very, very long time. I know a lot about religion and spirituality, but I'd say I encompass a lot of religions, but I'm more spiritual than anything. I do believe.
A good friend of mine just said, "No, sister, you're not an alpha female. You're a woman. A man doesn't want an." He doesn't, and it's true. I'm going to say it from the horse's mouth. I'm not a horse, but a man doesn't particularly want another man when it comes to the
But when
female.
I say alpha female, you guys are associating that with masculine traits. To be an alpha female doesn't mean you have to be associated with masculine. Doesn't mean you have to be masculine, does it? And again, here we are with, like, you know, just because I said alpha, there's alpha females throughout the whole animal kingdom, right? So an alpha female you could equate to, like, you know, a queen, a leader, okay? A man, like, that's like saying a man doesn't want a leader, a man doesn't want such, you know what I mean? But a real alpha female, she will submit like any other thing, but an alpha female just tends to be a little bit more stronger in her opinions, okay? And here's the thing, right? You can't submit without any personal power. Like, if I was to get married and I'm with my husband, right, and my husband was, and I was to say, oh, hon, can I have, you know, £100 to go shopping? And he says no, that's not me submitting, that's me obeying. Now, if I have all my own money and I'm like, you know, I want to book a flight and go on holiday, and my husband says to me, okay, look, hon, can you not go? I need you there this week, right? I need you to be there. And then I say, okay, I won't go, and I cancel my flights. That's me submitting, because I have the power to do what I want to do, whether he wants to do it or not.
I watched the video you said that. Good.
In order for you to be an actual submissive woman, you need to have the power to be submissive. But a lot of women don't have their personal power and don't obtain it because they don't do X, Y, and Z. So really, is it really an alpha man? That would, you know, like, there's a difference.
I think I know what you're saying, and I catch the energy of what you're saying. I mean, I must say that I do agree. I personally don't like if a woman says, "Hey, I'm an alpha," but I understand what you're saying in terms of the energy of what you mean.
But you could be an alpha female in business. You could be an alpha female in the way that you navigate and move life. But when it comes to your relationship, that's when, you know, it takes a real strong man to be able to allow your femininity to come out, for you to feel safe enough to be feminine. Do you know what I mean? Like in this day and age and stuff like that. So it takes a real strong man for you to bring the most feminine aspects out of you.
Right. Okay, fair. A woman should not let the masculine side be more powerful than the female. I think they meant to say female side, and vice versa with men.
I agree. Have a good balance. You should have a good balance. Look, this is me. When it comes to work, when it comes to running businesses, when it comes to making money, I'm an alpha. But when it comes to my relationships, I'm going to be submissive. If I the man,
I like the way you said that. Say that again.
That strong thing. So different parts parts of you, different parts of the world are going to get different versions of me. My family is going to get a different version of me. My partner will get a different version of me. Work will get a different version. So you can be strong and alpha in one version, but then you can also allow your women to come out and have the balance. Yeah, you have to have the balance. Do you know what I mean?
You being assertive in your profession and being a lady, so to speak, at home with your husband, with your partner. Yeah, okay. Fair point. Fair point. Okay, fair point. Fair point. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than a feminine woman. I say, and I speak on the behalf of the Academy of Men. There's nothing more beautiful.
Because that's what attracts you. It's the femininity. It's the nurturing. It's the loving aspect of it. But, you know, like I said, we're different versions of ourselves for different people and different tasks that we have in life. There's sometimes in life it will require us to be a lioness. Another time it will require us to be nurturing. And there'll be another situation that will require us to be outspoken and powerful and strong. Okay, so we have multiple facets to us and stuff like that. You can be an alpha female and be very, very, very feminine. You can do both, you know. Alpha doesn't necessarily mean the lack of femininity. It just means strength.
Okay, and I must say, I love a strong woman. A strong woman, you know, my mother is a strong woman. You know, the first example of a woman is my mother, my sisters. They're all strong women. And that's why I said it takes, and to me, a strong woman is an educated woman. I think a lot of, as we conclude in this section, a lot of women and men misinterpret strong women meaning trying to measure up with a man. And a strong woman to me means one who knows herself, one who's confident, one who's esteemed, one who's confident in himself. She doesn't need to show everything to
a little more concealed is far more alluring than completely.
She's strong in her intelligence. She's strong in her knowledge, in the books that she reads. The way she carries herself, she's loyal, she's humble. She's strong on her square, but a woman that feels that she needs to compete with a man, nah, that's unattractive.
Yeah, and see, that's where I would draw the line as well. I don't feel like as a woman as well. And again, like I'm not pro-feminism. You would have known this about me before. I feel like feminism can be very toxic and destructive, and what I feel like it does is it tries to demasculate the male community. And
yeah. Can you hear me?
And as women, we don't need a man, but I feel like we do need there needs to be that balance, you know? 100%. Yeah.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And you know, there's so much more I want to talk to you about. You know, I think this is just an introduction to the platform of Black House Speakers Lounge. I want to go deep. Bigging up my boy John Mohammed coming up on the platform. I want to go deep next time with you in terms of relationships, and I want to get into your cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah, we haven't got into financial literacy and education because
I want to go into that with yourself.
I would promote young women, and that's more what we want to see. I want to see representatives online of young women who, sorry, my thinking's going, of young women who want to learn skill sets that are going to make them financially independent. We need more entrepreneurial women to stand up and be the Kim K's. Do you know what I mean? And like, you know, the Cardi B's, okay? How about we talk about the 100 racks she made on oil last week? Or like, do you know what I mean? That's like, good. You know, we don't trade now. We make big commodities moves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's have more of that type of vibe.
Yeah. Cardi B doing their thing in terms of the business. That's great. That's great. You know, and we definitely need more role models for young women coming up because, man, to be a young person in general today, it's worse than when I was younger. You know, we just got too much distractions going on right now. And I want you to keep speaking your truth. Keep saying what you're saying. Keep meeting opposition. And I said this to you on a one-to-one level, and I'm saying it to everyone listening. It's going to take women to pattern up women. It's going to take women to pattern up women. You know, because I can only say so much as a man, but women are going to have to pattern up women because women are more single more than ever before. Women are more unmarried more than ever before. I really believe in comparison, and I watched the documentary on this. Women in comparison to the 1960s and 70s in these times now, and when you compare these two times now, 50, 40 years ago, women are more unhappier now than they were 40, 30, 50 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah. A lot of women actually they like the stay-at-home wife. They like to be the stay-at-home wife. They want the comfort of a man working for them, providing for them. Women are not as happy as they used to be, according to the statistics. This is not according to me because I'm not a woman, you know. So this feminism, toxic feminism, has killed marriage, killed family, killed bonding between male and female. And it's definitely done it in the black community. I've seen it happen in the black community. I've seen it happen for years. And now it started off in the black community and it's spreading out throughout other different communities. Kevin Samuels is king. I love Kevin Samuels. I'll make no apologies.
You know what? I'm a big Kevin Samuels fan. I like how he says. I think he's a bit raw with them sometimes, but you know, tough love and that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he says a lot of stuff.
I think women hold. I mean, I would disagree on some of his points. I feel like women hold a lot more value than their age and whether they've had children or not. But you know, I've heard from my male friends, you know, because I don't have any kids, right? And I remember him saying,
"You're still young. You still can do it."
Yeah. I remember him saying to me, he said, "Do you know the fact that you don't have kids, how high value that makes you?" And that confused me. Like he was he said, not having children, not having like another man's babies, he was just like, I was just like, that's crazy to me. What do you say about that?
Do you know what with the high the sexual market value? See, what I get from Kevin, he's not saying women don't have no value, because I couldn't co-sign to that. He's saying specifically when it comes to dating, this is what I understand, is when specifically we're dealing with dating, specifically, he's saying that women, high value men who seek a woman or a wife to obviously have children with, they're more likely, not that they won't go for a woman in her 30s or 40s, they're more likely to go for a woman in the 20s and 30s. Yeah. More likely, because they want children, they want longevity, they want legacy. Yeah. I understand why a lot of women are triggered by him. I get it. I understand.
But the thing is, like, you know, it's good for us to be triggered, because if you're triggered, it's a negative emotion, it's an area of healing. You have to understand, why does that piss me off so much? Because if it's not as directly related to you, it shouldn't piss you off. And that's, that's the reality. So there's something.
That is the reality. And all it is, he's not putting down women. I've watched his stuff, and he's actually trying to help with the epidemic of single motherhood, and he's trying to help with this intergenerational,
this really deluded mindset as well, this really overly entitled mindset. And this is another thing that I made a point of, is, you know, sometimes like this lack of entitlement. I mean, this we keep teaching women to be overly entitled, and this is another thing that I've been seeing so much. It's just like there's a lot of like overly entitled, you should just get what you want like that, when really that's not how life actually works. So when they come out into the real world and they're trying to get what they're getting, they're going to be failing. Like, do you know what I mean? So crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts. So Lydia, you know what? I'm going to love you and leave you for now, but I'm going to put you back on for sure, 100%. Because this is an introduction to what you do. Yeah. So I know we'll get into the cryptocurrency and all that another time. We will do that because that's important. We don't know whether another lockdown's coming. The stocks all doing this and that. In fact, we do know another lockdown's coming. Come on, it's coming. It's coming. So we just need to be ready. There's so much I want to share with the people on the platform, so people stay on this platform. We have a second guest coming on who survived cancer, survived prostate cancer naturally. He survived prostate cancer, and I want everyone to stay on the platform. You stay with us as well, but I just want everyone to give a big round of applause for Lydia Rose for coming on and to follow her platform and to share and like her page and share her videos with the young ladies of today, because there's a lot more value to these young women than what the mainstream media is telling them. There's a lot more value, and I love it when people are speaking. Yep, we're going to save this life. And I love it when people of all walks of life are speaking on the young. I love it because I'm very passionate about the value of young people, especially women. I love it, and I don't care what package it comes in. I love it, and I promote anyone, you know, who promotes such. So big up yourself, darling, you know, and you keep doing what you're doing. You keep doing what you're doing with your gorgeous self. And
looking forward to our next chat as well.
100%, definitely, my friend. We'll do this, yeah?
All
All
right.
right.
All right. See
God
you later.
bless. Thank you.